Welcome, friends. We're so glad you're here with us today. If you are watching on Facebook, make sure to hit that share button right now so that you can have your friends join us. Also, if this is your first time or you just want to connect with us, I encourage you to go to thevenues.org/connect. There you can fill out a welcome card and tell us a little bit about yourself. If you have any prayer requests, that's where you can also submit those. Please make sure to download our Church Center app. That's where you can find everything that's up and coming. And also, if you don't already, Facebook and Instagram, make sure to follow us on there. You can keep up to date with all of the latest, and we look forward to seeing you.
Shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me.
All these pieces broken and scattered, in mercy gathered, mended and whole. Empty-handed, but not forsaken. I've been set free. I've been set free. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. yourself down, raising up the broken to life. You take our failure, you take our weakness, you set your treasure in jars of clay. So take this heart, Lord, I'll be a vessel, the world to see your life in me. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life.
Hi everybody, my name is Ben Stringer and I'm the Associate Pastor at The Venues, and I have something really exciting for you to look forward to in the year 2021. I can't even believe I'm saying that. January 10th of 2021, we're gonna be holding our first Next Level class here at the church and online. If you've never attended Next Level, it's a great opportunity for you to learn more about the history of the church, to ask questions about the theology and the teachings, to get more information about how to get connected, and to even meet staff and interact with them and ask them questions directly. You can actually come here to the church and attend this in person. We'll be masking, we'll be social distancing and making sure that everybody is brought in and released safely. Or you can attend online by going to Facebook or watching with us on our website. So I hope you'll mark your calendars for January 10th, 10:45 a.m. for Next Level 2021.
If you've never joined us before, I'd love to invite you to a little thing we call Bar Church, or we used to because we were in a bar and we had access to beverages. Right now we are totally virtual, so you can join us on Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook Live, or you can watch us on our website. Right now we're in this series where we are going to be exploring the religions of those spread all over the world, and I'm really excited about this because it's just kind of like, what do you actually know about Islam? I don't really actually know anything. What do you actually know about Hinduism or Judaism? Like, I don't really know, I didn't learn a lot about these other religions. So I am personally very excited to hop into this. So we hope you'll join us again Thursday nights at 6:30 p.m.
When I first started attending a non-denominational church, it was something that gave me an incredible sense of freedom. Honestly, I could study, I could serve, and then I could teach without worrying about what a supervisor or maybe a bishop or the national conference was going to think about how I did these things. It was liberating because I could focus just on what I thought God was putting in front of me to speak as broadly and to serve as broadly as I wanted to. But I also started to realize that the flip side of that was that those churches, this church, doesn't have a conference, a district, a national or international organization that's been in place for tens or hundreds or thousands of years supporting it. That all of the work that we do depends on the generosity of the people who choose to be a part of this community and support the work that we do as a church, as a body of Christ. And that can be a little scary at times, but I want to say thank you to everybody who's been a part of that in big and small ways in 2020, because we've had a phenomenal response. And even though the church has been closed and is closed for services right now, we've been able to continue to serve this community in a number of different ways. If you like what the Venues is doing, if you like the freedom that this church gives through God, please consider donating and supporting the cause. You can give by sending in a check. You can give by dropping off a check. In fact, if you have any questions about how to give, all you need to do is call in and talk to Barbie. She'll help you. You can even give online by going to thevenues.org/give. You are an incredibly generous community of people. So I thank you for thinking about this, for praying about this, and when you're able, for giving.
The song Human by a group called The Killers was based upon a quote by Hunter Thompson. Here's the quote: "We're raising a generation of dancers, afraid to take one step out of line." Jesus certainly did not step in line, dance in line with the Pharisees. No, he danced to his own tune. My question to us today as the band plays this song is, who is teaching you how to dance?
I did my best to notice when the call came down the line. Up to the platform I surrendered. I was broad but I was kind. And sometimes I get nervous when I see an open door. Close your eyes, clear your heart. Cut the cord. Are we human? Are we dancer? My sign is vital. My hands are cold, and I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human? Are we dancer? best they could. And so long to devotion, you taught me everything I know. Wave goodbye, wish me well. You gotta let me go. Are we human? Or are we dancer? My sign is vital. My hands are cold, and I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human? Or are we dancer? Will your system be alright when you dream of home tonight? There is no message we're receiving. Let me know, is your heart still beating? Are we human? Or are we dancer? My sign is vital. My hands are cold, and I'm on my knees looking for the answer. You gotta let me know. Are we human? Are we dancer? My sign is vital. My hands are cold, and I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human? Are we dancer? Are we human? Are we dancer? Are we human? Are we dancer?
Well, Happy New Year. No one, and I mean no one, is sad to say goodbye to 2020. Even Baby Yoda and Yoda are glad that it's gone. And with Christmas 2020 not being exactly what everybody wanted, it's not exactly full of joy, was it? And so, with 2020 behind us, let's put on our party hats and start 2021 with this new series that we're calling The Party of Life. And today's teaching is called A Life of Inclusion. Jesus used a lot of metaphors to describe his kingdom, and one of my favorites is the metaphor of a party. We all know someone who is the life of the party, but this series will focus us on experiencing the party of life. Take a look at these passages written by John. In him was life, and the life was the light of mankind. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come so that they may have life and may have it abundantly. Saying to the Pharisees, Jesus says, you study the scriptures thoroughly because you think in them you possess eternal life. And it is these same scriptures that testify about me. Comedian Ron White says, I believe that if life gives you lemons, you should make lemonade and try to find somebody whose life has given them vodka and have a party. Yeah, 2020 has given us kind of a lemony type of life. So in this series, let's add a little vodka and have a party. There are two Greek words in the New Testament, both translated life. We use these words all the time: bios, biology; zoe, zoology. And those two words, though, have very distinct meanings. The difference between these two words in the New Testament is the difference between Pinocchio as a wooden toy and as a real boy. Bios, the wooden toy; zoe, the real boy. So the world is a toy shop, and God is a toy maker, or in the case of Pinocchio, a fairy. And God's purpose is to wake us up to life, make us real. From start to finish in the Gospel of John, John announces that God's purpose is life. It is Zoe. The word Zoe in a noun form is used around 36 times in John and around 20 times in the verb form. I want us to spend the next couple of minutes in John chapter 10, verse 10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come so that they might have life and have it abundantly. What comes to your mind with that word abundantly? Most of us think of more stuff, better stuff, new stuff. But maybe that's not what Jesus had in mind. We need to remember that John chapter 10 is connected with John chapter 9. John chapter 9 is action. John chapter 10 is application. And the action in John chapter 9 is Jesus healing a man who was blind, had been blind from birth. This man had been cut off from the community. He had been condemned by the religious world as having committed some kind of horrible sin, or his parents having committed some kind of a horrible sin, hence his blindness, because nobody would be blind unless it was a punishment from God, so that theology said. Well, the Pharisees didn't care much for Jesus healing this guy. In John chapter 9, we read this. Then some of the Pharisees began to say, "This man is not from God, because he does not observe the Sabbath," speaking of Jesus. But others said, "Well, how can a man who is a sinner perform such miraculous signs?" Thus there was a division among them. Verse 28, the Pharisees heaped insults on the man who was healed of his blindness, saying, "You are his disciple, and we are disciples of Moses." Verse 34, and they replied, the Pharisees did, to the man who was born blind, "You were born completely in sinfulness, and yet you presume to teach us?" So they threw him out of the temple. Well, from this conflict, Jesus turns to the Pharisees and talks to them in John chapter 10 about thieves and a good shepherd, about those who take away life and those who give life. And the message is not mixed, and it's not missed by the Pharisees. It's loud and clear. The Pharisees get it. They say, wow, Jesus is calling us thieves. He's calling himself the good shepherd. Jesus is telling us that we are the ones who take away life, and he is the one that gives life. Jesus is saying that he's the one that protects life and protects people, and we are the ones that harm people. Jesus is the gate, he also says in this passage in John chapter 10. Now, in my earlier life, when I would hear sermons and I would even preach sermons on Jesus being the gate, I was taught that that was a gate of exclusion to keep some in and some out. And I was inside the gate, but those who were not a part of my group were outside the gate. But I'm wondering, is that really what Jesus meant when he says, "I am the gate"? Because what the Pharisees did is what I did. They used the idea of a gate to keep people out. Exactly what they did when they booted this blind man out of the temple. So many times religious leaders are guilty of kicking people out of the church. This pastor in this cartoon created by David Hayward, throwing different sheep out because too fat, too black, too horny, too smart, too gay, too poor, well, I just don't like you. That's what the Pharisees were doing, and I'm afraid that's what I did too. I was the gatekeeper. Maybe Jesus is telling us, by calling himself the gate, that the purpose of the gate is to keep religious people from hurting the sheep who are inside the gate. When Jesus says that he is the gate, maybe Jesus is saying that Jesus sets the rules of who's going to be in the gate instead of the Pharisees setting those rules. So Jesus says that he came to give life, and he says that he came to give an abundant life. I wonder if Jesus is talking about abundant life in relationship to this blind man. Maybe Jesus is talking about what he gave to that blind man when he healed him of his blindness. Maybe Jesus is talking about what Jesus did for that man. Two things I want us to notice that Jesus did for that man. First of all, Jesus included him. He had been cut off from the community. He had been thrown out of the religious community as well. I love this other cartoon by David Hayward. A sheep representing LGBTQ individuals comes into church, and one sheep says to him, "Sorry, but you're just not welcome here." And the next frame has Jesus and the LGBTQ sheep walking away. Hey, where'd Jesus go? Jesus is always going with the marginalized. Jesus is always including those that seem like us religious people exclude. The Venues began, and it continues with the value of inclusion. It's not just a statement that we have written on a paper. It is a spirit that has been written on our hearts. Listen to and look at what some people who are part of the Venues have said about our inclusiveness. One person writes, "All my life I have gone to church after church. I have felt unloved, apart from the crowd, and run out of each and every one. When I found the Venues, I kept waiting for that moment when they would disenfranchise me. It never happened. Since then, I have invited countless family members and friends to check out the church, and they felt comfortable too. What does the Venues mean to me? A home. After such a long time of not belonging, thanks for all you do." Another person writes, "After coming out of the closet, I never thought I would serve in ministry again. I was broken, hurt by the church. I truly did not know how I was going to keep going. Then one Sunday I came to the Venues. You told me I'm loved. You told me I'm good enough. You told me God does not make mistakes. You told me He made me, me. And it's okay to love who I love. The Venues has become our family. And for that, my family is forever grateful." Let me close with this one. For most of my adult life, I have been kicked out of churches, told I'm not welcome, that I am cut off from the family of God, or made to feel uncomfortable by being preached at every time I walk through the doors, all because of one area, one aspect of my being, the fact that I am a gay man. I tolerated that treatment because I had to have a place to worship. I loved God and knew He loved me, in spite of what the popular opinions were. And when the Venues started, I knew from moment one that this was where God was placing me. I am so grateful to have a place where I am loved unconditionally, not just tolerated. I am able to serve alongside my brothers and sisters, not just sneak in and sit in the back row. This is truly a place where the love of God is expressed to all people. I am home. I can't help but get teary-eyed and teary in my heart when I read these stories of those who have been excluded, and how grateful I am to have discovered a Jesus who includes. And then through the Venues, us offering a place of inclusion to those who have been excluded. And I want everyone in the church and everyone outside the church who's not a part of this particular group of people, I want you all to know that we are unapologetically inclusive. So Jesus included this man who had been excluded. The second thing I see that Jesus did that translates into abundance is Jesus freed him. F-R-E-E-D. He freed him. Sign language for free is this, 2 F's coming out. Jesus freed him. He freed him from an oppressive theology, the theology that said, you're blind because you must have sinned. You're blind because your parents must have sinned. I know a lot of people who have been hurt by oppressive theology. A lot of people who have been poisoned by toxic theology. One example that we see of toxic theology is this statement made by this pastor over the phone. Of course, he says to this caller, you're welcome to come to our church if you're gay. We let in all kinds of sinners here. That's oppressive theology. It's toxic theology. And I think Jesus freed this man from toxic theology, and Jesus wants to do that with us too. So today, let's see with what characters in this story we line up. Maybe you connect with the blind man. You have been a victim of hurtful, bad theology. You have been excluded, expelled from church. And Jesus offers you abundant life in the form of inclusion. Maybe you relate best to the Pharisees. There have been times that I have. The Pharisees are the propagators of that bad theology. How do you know it's bad theology? I don't know. I know kind of what I sense, and that is bad theology excludes. Bad theology marginalizes. Bad theology elevates doctrine over the love of neighbor. Bad theology elevates being right over being loving. Well, maybe you best connect with Jesus, and I know who's actually going to say, yeah, I'm like Jesus right there. But we can be. It was Paul who says in Colossians 1:27 that Christ is in you. Look in the mirror and know that Christ is in you. It was Jesus who said the kingdom is within you. So today I choose to live by the values of the Christ and the kingdom that is within me. Today I choose to receive the abundance of inclusion and acceptance that Jesus offers. Today I choose to leave the way of the Pharisees and follow the way of Jesus. He's the gate. He sets the rules. Maybe that primary rule is that golden one we read about in Matthew. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Happy New Year. Welcome to the abundant life of inclusion.